Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Strong Sexy You podcast. I am Andi Wagner, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alyssa Siegel and Aubrey Worek. Hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
So today we want to talk about non-scale victories, okay? And before we can dive into that, I want to talk about why we don't want to use the scale. I mean, everybody knows why we don't want to use the scale, but I think we need to preface this whole talk by saying the scale sucks, right? I mean, I used to be one of those people that weighed myself every single day. Okay. Were you guys ever in that camp? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really try to do it once a week. What is your scale habits? Aubrey, what do you?
So it's really interesting. My scale habits have been a bit of a journey because I went from 20 years ago weighing myself every day where it became really toxic for my mental health. And then not weighing myself at all. So the pendulum swung it both ways where I could monitor my weight. And then based on my relationship with food at the time, I started gain weight. And then I started to have a better relationship with that number and what that meant to me. So I would weigh myself one day a week. Now I'm currently training for a bikini competition where I almost weigh myself every day, but I want to say it really depends on what's going on between your ears and what your goals are. And if it impacts your mental health, I think that's really what this podcast is about, is how to give yourself some self-compassion and not be defined by that number on the scale, because it can be a buzzkill and it can certainly ruin your day.
It can totally ruin your day. And it's crazy how that happens. But I mean, there's so many things that affect it. You know, how you slept. Are you dehydrated? Did you poop? What time of the cycle is it? Like, we're smarter than that. Why can't we get that in our head? Alyssa, what are your weighing habits?
So when I'm training, usually it's once a week because it goes with the check-in. Maybe towards the end is a little bit more daily, and you can ask Aubrey because I've checked with her. If some of those factors are going on, I'll just say, I don't weigh myself today because I don't want to piss myself off. Like, I know that those affect it. So I don't know. The scale is such a poor representation. I mean, it's just one part of so many factors that go into the measurement. So I try not to focus on that number.
But do you guys think, like, as women, like, this is kind of like what has been ingrained in us in terms of, like, you know, there's like this desirable number, and this desirable number makes you attractive or less attractive. And then whatever, you know, your special number is. So I think that there's more attached to that and why we put so much value on that number. So I think it's important, you know, to practice daily rituals to say that, all right, I am making progress in what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. Plus, so many people forget about height. Height is such a factor in weight too. Yep. You know what I mean?
Even just 1 inch. Like I know if I'm 1 inch taller than a certain person, I could be 10 pounds heavier, and it doesn't maybe look like that, but it's all distributed.
Yeah, it totally plays mind games with you. But that's why we want to talk about non-scale victories today, because there are so many other things that we can be proud of and that we can look at to help us track our progress in our healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to start up. We have 12 things that we can consider non-scale victories, but actually we came up with a 13th. So we'll throw that one at you at the end. But I'm going to start off. I want to talk about a few things. Measurements, girth measurements. So when we do programs, we ask people to measure, you know, their chest, their hips, their waist, their arms, their legs. I don't know exactly which ones are in there, but measuring inches can be so impactful. Maybe the scale doesn't change, but you've lost 8 inches over your whole body. That is huge. You're a smaller person. You're more compact. Maybe I've replaced my scale. I keep a measuring tape in my drawer in my bathroom. And I, just every once in a while I pull it out. I'm like, oh, look at my waist today, or whatever it is. Or sometimes I'm like, oh, I had a good lift. Let's check the biceps, see how big they got. But I just think that those girth measurements that's life. That's way better than the scale. What do you guys think?
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I know, it's funny because there's certain body parts that you are excited that number goes up. you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's true.
you want like your glute measurement to increase. So I think that those are numbers that we can definitely have a little bit better of a relationship with.
For sure. All right. So my next one I want to talk about is how your clothes fit. And you don't need any fancy, equipment or anything for this. Grab a pair of jeans, grab the ones that you haven't worn for a few years because they're tight and uncomfortable. Put them on, see how they feel, and then use that to track your progress. I have a friend, we have a friend, Mel, and Mel uses a pair of shorts that she's had for years, and she'll be like, oh, the shorts are fitting great, or, but going by how your clothes feel, I think that is a no-brainer. I have that little section in my closet that I only can wear those when I'm feeling light and, but put those on, see how they feel. Use that as a measurement as well. Progress pictures. Who loves to take progress pictures? It's funny. I think you guys will agree with this. When we ask people to take before and after pictures in our programs, that people hate doing that. But that tells so much more than the scale. I mean, and I don't see it in myself because I see myself every day and you guys see yourselves in the mirror every day. But looking at a picture that's, 2 pictures 2 months apart, you can see some massive changes. You might see some new lines that showed up, or maybe we don't have as much hanging over our waistband as we did before. So progress pictures, that can be a huge non-scale victory if you're seeing some positive progress in those.
Yeah, I have something to add to that. When I first started ever doing any type of program, however many years ago with Aubrey, my 4-week pictures were like night and day. The scale moved 2 pounds.
Right.
Like, that is it. And that was one of the first, I was like, okay, this scale's like, not a good indicator, but because it was like night and day. So 100% believe in progress.
Yeah. And you're probably in like the muscle building phase. Would you say that? Yeah.
Honestly, no, that first time was literally it was only 2 days a week workout because I had not done anything prior, and following the same meal plan that we give at our SSU programs, like not macros or anything, just measurements and even visual. I wasn't even measuring at that time, and just in 4 weeks, the difference was insane.
I think that's so crazy. Powerful that I hope people really pay attention to that, because oftentimes we think, okay, I have to do all the things to see results. And when you went from, okay, I really wasn't doing anything, 2 days a week working out, and that you just drew awareness to better eating habits and what a difference your body composition was. I think that's a big takeaway, because sometimes we reach a point in life where we're working out all the time, we're eating on point, and then life happens, knocks you down, and then we don't do anything. And it goes to prove something is better than nothing, but you have to reroute. And there's still a lot of value in that.
And I think we have people in our programs who, if it's a 6-week program, they get to week 6 and they're like, I'm not taking pictures and sending them in. I didn't lose any weight, whatever. They're forgetting about all the other stuff, and they see those pictures and like, oh my gosh, I actually did make progress. So I think the phone camera can be a great tool for that.
Yeah, I wrote that down now that you mentioned it, because I put still take your progress pictures no matter what.
Yeah.
Even when you think otherwise, you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah. The 4th thing I want to talk about, and we kind of hit this when we were talking about the scale doesn't change much, but we saw a difference in the pictures. Body composition. You can change your body composition and your weight doesn't change. So if you're only using the scale to measure, you're missing a big component here. And if you have access to equipment that can check your percentage of body fat, that's awesome. But you can see it in those pictures when, you see the lines that you may not have had before. That's because your percentage of body fat's going down and possibly your lean muscle mass is going up. So, if you guys have access to like a bod pod or something that I feel like there's so many methods to check percent body fat that just are not accurate. There's the scales that you can stand on, the bioelectrical impedance things that you hold on to and stuff. They're good, I guess, to track progress. but I wouldn't live and die by that number. If you have access to, hydrostatic weighing or bod pod, those would be a little bit more accurate. And if it's in some kind of lab or medical facility, it's probably going to be more accurate. So don't live and die by those numbers, but just to see a change. I have the little handheld one here at my house by electrical impedance, and I know it's not super accurate, but I can use it, every couple of months just to see if it goes up or down, and that helps me know if my body composition is changing. So
yeah, so we don't really have any of those types of devices, I think, where we are, other than like some universities will have that. So
Yeah.
if you're near a university that has maybe a good exercise physiology program, sports conditioning, that sort of thing, you might have access to the DEXA scan or the bod pod, like Andi mentioned. I've never done either of those.
I haven't either.
So maybe that should be
I have.
interesting.
So when I lived in Pittsburgh when I was in grad school, I was a teaching assistant at Pitt, and I worked in the Human Energy Research Laboratory. And so we did hydrostatic weighing on people. And then when I went on, I was a teacher in Pittsburgh. I would take my students to the Human Energy Research Lab to do all kinds of fitness testing. It was really fun. And then I used to go in there and do it when I was competing and living in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you're in Pittsburgh at Pitt, you can go in and they will do hydrostatic weighing, which is very accurate.
The hydrostatic weighing, and I don't know if a lot of listeners know what that is, but you got to wear your swimsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're lower down in this tank. It's been, I did it in college, but
Yeah.
So do you remember what they're doing? They're kind of measuring like your buoyancy and compared to like your
Yep.
muscle mass.
Yeah, so they call it like underwater weighing, and they basically, you go into a tank and you have to go underwater and you have to expel as much air as possible. And they're weighing you in there. Now, I don't think that is very common. I think more so you see the DEXA scanners these days. But back in the day, the hydrostatic weighing or underwater weighing was like the gold standard. Like,
Yeah.
that was the best that you could get.
Hardcore.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't think it's as popular today. I think the bod pod and the DEXA scanners are a little more what you would find in a research setting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Aubrey, I'm going to throw it to you. You have a couple of topics here to talk about with non-scale victories that have nothing to do with weighing ourselves.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go down the list so I can kind of put this in a nice, pretty package for us. So we want to talk about sleep, how that affects your energy, what is going on with your hair, your skin, your joints, and also water. So the first thing is, we all know that sleep is so important. I was listening to an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote the other day, and he was saying 8 hours of sleep is ridiculous. He's like, sleep faster. 6 hours of sleep is enough. And I was like, I like that.
Sleep faster. That's awesome.
All right, Arnold. But in all honesty, sometimes, again, this is another number. Like, I don't hit 8 hours of sleep. When I went on vacation, I was hitting 8 hours of sleep, and almost made me, I don't want to say more tired, but I think my body had to catch up. So if you want to sleep faster, you better really make sure you fall asleep quickly and you're not getting up in the middle of the night if you're going to the bathroom, that sort of thing. So your sleep ritual is huge. I always tell people, if you can help it, I don't sleep next to my phone, but if you have to sleep next to your phone, if you could turn it on airplane mode or turn off the Wi-Fi, sometimes that can impact our sleep quality and our melatonin production if we are near a lot of electronic devices. And that is if you notice that you're like not getting quality sleep. So check out your environment. How can you have some, I'm a huge essential oil fan now. I felt that has really improved my sleep. So you can do a little research on that, but just tweak one thing about your sleep. I know the three of us have used different melatonin products before. I use the Isagenix melatonin spray, which is a very gentle spray. Even on young kids, you can use this. It doesn't give you that melatonin hangover. So obviously caffeine before bed, maybe start to decrease your water consumption before bed if you can help that, so you're not getting up in the middle of the night to pee to disrupt your sleep. This is where the repair work comes in, where if you're lifting heavy, that this is, we create our gains when we're resting. And this is where it's so important to get to bed before 10 to impact your circadian rhythm better. Because what happens is our cortisol levels, there's going to be a certain time of the day where they spike. And if we are fighting that rhythm and going to bed later, waking up kind of off of that, your body's going to feel that. So that's an easy, quick fix in terms of helping your metabolism out and just helping your energy. That's going to impact how you carry yourself, your patience for the day. I know for me, either if I'm hangry or if I'm sleep deprived, I ain't got time for that. I am not a patient person. So,
and I feel like, just to add something about the sleep, when my son was an infant and babies wake you up, or now that he's a teenager and he has a late curfew, like I can't just go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6 or whatever it is. There's things that are waking me up, like with the infant, feedings and all of that. I was very fortunate at like 4 months, mine started sleeping. So that was good. But I mean, he's 17 now and he has a curfew of midnight on the weekends or during the summer. I can't just go to bed. I got to make sure he's actually home then. So that's been a real struggle this summer. Trying to get my sleep in. So sometimes it's easier said than done. You have to get your 8 hours of sleep. And I'm good with 6 to 7. I'm totally fine with 6 to 7. But right now, those 6 to 7 are totally interrupted. Because
I agree with that, Andy, because my son's he doesn't have that late of a curfew, but I have a phone curfew of that. And the other night, I'm gonna throw my husband under the bus here, but I was like, I'm going to bed. I want to get up in the morning, go to the gym, take his phone off him at midnight. He fell asleep. Him and his friend had a virtual sleepover where they stayed up till like all hours of the night.
Oh, wow.
Playing video games and talking. I mean, it's kind of funny because that's because if he was here, I'm like, he should have just came over. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what we did growing up. And I'm glad that he's having that experience, but it's just today's world, the virtual sleepover. But I give my husband help for that. I'm like, I said midnight. So apparently I can't go to sleep early.
No, and it's a season in our lives, and it'll change in a couple years. And I don't know, when he goes to college, I don't know if I'll sleep at all. My goodness. Or maybe I'll just make up for lost time.
As long as my kid doesn't do what I did, we're good.
Right.
Well, that's another episode.
Yeah.
I think that is important, because my son's 6 and you guys have older kids, and that is eye-opening because I look to the two of you to see what my forecast is going to be, kind of what I'm in for, and how I kind of am spoiled because I need to get in bed by 10:30. And right now I'm lucky that I can do that, but my son goes to bed at like 10:30 as well. So him and I are on the same sleep schedule. But I do say also, there's benefits in taking power naps. If you're a good power napper, my husband, he is the master at this, then you can kind of save yourself and improve your metabolism, your adrenal functions, and your stress health a lot with that. Now, I definitely notice like my hair, skin, nails, and joints. I think that when I'm focused on better sleep, since our bodies can repair better, that these things improve. Your body talks to you. If you notice different things, if you're, if you're inflamed, then you're going to want to try to pinpoint a couple things. And I always think like focus on one thing at a time. Otherwise you're going to get so overwhelmed. And the last thing that we are mentioning here is that, focus on the things that you are doing right. And I think water can be done really, really well. Water is a habit, it's a ritual, and it's something that it will increase your metabolism up to 3% if you are drinking it consistently. And you can also notice all these other things and your body improve. So right now, if you're thinking like, all right, where do I start? I want you to find your blind spot. Maybe a blind spot for you can be water. And we talk about how to create a water drinking habit. I remember I drank no water before the age of 8th grade, like none. I had no water drinking habit. And in 8th grade, there was this gal that sat behind me in one of my classes. She had this beautiful glowing skin and I was starting to get acne. And I'm like, how is your skin so good? And she goes, I drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's all I needed to hear. And what I did as a younger person, I was like, okay, before lunchtime, I would like make sure that I would chug 8 glasses of water because I so badly did not want to get acne. So that was where my habit started. How about you guys? Water.
You know, I will tell you, it is the one thing that I struggle with my healthy lifestyle. I can eat as clean as you want me to. I will never ever miss a workout, but getting my water in is hard for me.
How much do you
In the,
drink a day?
I am getting around 100 ounces a day,
Okay,
which
so
is
just
really
shy of
good now
down.
because I used to get maybe 50. So I'm
Wow.
getting it up there.
As much
During
as
the
you
summer,
sweat too.
yeah. Well, during the summer, I'm good with just ice water. That's good for me. But normally, like in the winter, I don't even want to just drink plain water. So
No.
it's been a struggle for me adding lemon or adding, like sometimes I'll slice up some strawberries and throw in my water or something. Like I just need it to taste like something.
Mhm.
I struggle with
Sexy
it, but
water.
yeah, I'm up to about 100 ounces right now. I got myself a water bottle that if I fill it up 3 times, I get 100 ounces. So I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I would like
That's
more,
another
but
good podcast is water drinking. Because I know, Alyssa, you want to chime in.
I struggle with the water as well. She knows this.
If you're right there, I'd start kicking you under the table. Hey.
I know. I don't have a problem with the taste of I love water. I actually don't even need it cold. I can drink it. It's taking the time and stopping what I'm doing to do it, especially when I'm at work. And that's like, it's funny with the sleep thing and not getting up in the middle of the night. Like I'm the one that gets up in the middle of the night because I'm literally chugging like water before I go to bed to get my water in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I try to get 80 to 100 ounces a day. I try really hard for 100 on work days. I mean, I never get less than 64, which is half a gallon. So, but I
Which
do
is good
try.
because you used to not drink a lot at all. So that's a
I'm
testament
talking
to
like
you
48
and
ounces.
like to give
Yeah.
people some hope because just because you haven't had a habit, for years and years and years doesn't mean it's ever too late to create a really good one like you have.
Absolutely.
I feel this might be our age though, because I don't feel that we grew up with anybody telling us like the only time I had a drink as a kid was when I had a meal.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
Absolutely.
really drink in between that. And my mom is that way. She doesn't drink much. Like she has something with a meal, but that's about it. So it's not all our fault, but we know better. So we need to be better at it.
So my husband actually calls it the milk carton theory or something like that. He won't drink during meals. He drinks after a meal, and he says it's from grade school because you only got this little thing of milk with your
True.
meal. And if you drank it during, then you had nothing to wash it down. So he would eat it all and then drink his milk carton. Until this day, he does not eat a dinner. Like he eats and then drinks.
Wow. That's so true though. So true.
Yeah.
I remember those stupid milk cartons because sometimes you couldn't get them open. And
I know.
Yeah. And they're like this big.
Yeah. I feel like that's another podcast because there is, I don't know if you guys have done any research and like, it's not necessary to drink water during a meal, but it is better to drink it either before or after. So
yeah.
Digestive health.
All right. Those are good ones, Aubrey. Alyssa, we have some more for you to talk about these non-skill victories. These are great ones too.
Yeah, these are kind of like, almost like kind of like checklist items, I guess you would say. So one is hitting your nutrition for the day or week. So depending on whether you write it down like in a journal or you use an app. So if you write it down in the journal and you hit all those things and you didn't have to like erase or anything like that, that is a huge non-skill victory. Like, you did it. And a lot of the apps, like when you hit it, they light up with like, it light up in yellow and stars, like you hit your nutrition
you
goal,
did it.
So that is awesome. So when you see that visual, affirmance that you hit your goals, that's a great victory.
When I feel good about that, it's not even that day. It's the next morning when I wake up and I feel so good. I'm like, I am so happy I hit my nutrition yesterday because I feel awesome today. Because I'm the one that if I eat too many treats or off plan, I wake up the next day and I feel sick. Like I feel like I have a head cold. So I love the feeling the next day when I wake up after a day of hitting all my meals.
Yeah, 100%.
The best feeling.
Kind of goes with this next one too, is you go to dinner and you don't completely blow it. So it could be either if you're using your dinner as you're still on an on-plan meal and you go to the restaurant and you pick out healthy options, or even if you are using it as your off-plan meal, but you didn't go hog wild crazy. Like, the fried foods, the desserts and everything. Like, you didn't count it. You kind of enjoyed yourself. You had a mindful meal, but you didn't go insane. And then you feel better the next day because
like resorting back to your old habits, that's
Yes.
what I take that is. It's like, oh, I didn't go off on a binger, like it was my last meal on earth, but I actually enjoyed it and was satisfied. So that's a huge
yeah.
And I think so many people don't feel that they can go out to eat and still stay on plan or not blow it. Like, I think when they go out, they're like, I know I'm not going to be able to eat well. And it's not true. I mean, in our programs, we talk about, that's one of our big things we talk about is how to go out to eat at a restaurant and stay on plan. Or like you said, Alyssa, go ahead and have your off-plan foods, but don't go crazy with it. And so that's a massive myth that you can't go out to dinner. You totally can.
And another thing would be like, and it's not something that usually applies to me because I'm not a big drinker, but the alcohol too. Like you can go out and have one glass of wine with dinner, enjoy yourself. Look at Aubrey's face.
I was like, Alyssa's staring at me. She's like, listen, you can do the one glass. You're right, Alyssa.
And then she's staring at me. She's like, you don't have to have dessert.
I know. Going out to dinner with Alyssa, she's like, you want to split this dessert? I was like, no, I want 2 glasses of wine. I'm getting my 2 glasses of wine.
And I just drink water so I can have my dessert. So it's like,
So we're at the yin and the yang with that for sure.
Yeah. Funny. Another thing is you got all your workouts in. So a lot of times, you have your week planned. For instance, this week was a completely off plan as far as time of workouts. Normally I get up in the morning and get it done, have the rest of the day with my kids. Well, my son had basketball camp this week. My husband's out of town. My daughter had Bible school this week. So like everything, I got it in when I could.
Yeah.
So even last night I went during the evening, which, like I hate it. I know a lot of people have to do evening, but it's the worst. It's the worst because it's so busy. But while she was at Bible school, I went to the gym and I got it done. I had to wait a little bit sometimes for machines, but I got it done. And that was like a huge non-skill victory.
Yeah. Awesome.
And going along with that too is when you increase your weights.
Yes.
So so whether
Such an accomplishment. I know. I have a number that I'm trying to hit on my back squat. I've never been one to do a lot of like big Olympic lifts. And so I'm working towards it. I'll share it with you guys when I get there.
Oh, definitely. I need some inspo with that, Andy. I need some inspo.
Yeah. And even your box jumps, Andy. Your box jumps.
I love that. When I can move it up, I'm at 40 right now. I'm trying to get higher. But all right, so
it doesn't have to do weights.
Yeah. So we looked at 12 non-scale victories just to run through your girth measurements, how your clothes are fitting, taking progress pictures, seeing a change in your body composition, getting better sleep, having more energy, your hair, skin, nails are looking better, your joints, you're hitting all your water, your nutrition, your workouts, you're going out to dinner and not blowing it, and you're increasing your weights in your gym. Those are all things that you don't even need the scale. Look at those things and you're going to see your progress. But there's one last one that I need to get in real quick. And we talked about this yesterday. Alyssa, her son wanted to go work out with her. When other people are noticing and seeing how awesome your life is because you're living a healthy lifestyle and they want to join you, whether it's your kids or your spouse or your friends, that is golden. That makes you feel so good about it all. So those are our 13 non-scale victories.
Moment right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was. And I couldn't get him out of the gym either. Like, he's like, show me how this works. Show me how this works. So, but I'm like, I think my workout done. Then I'll help you. And I did. We stayed for an extra hour and I was just showing him everything. It was awesome.
It gave me a little goosies there. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for chiming in with me and talking about these non-scale victories and just letting people know that we don't need to live and die by the scale. I mean, actually, if y'all want to throw your scales away, go for it. I think we'd all be better off for it. So, all right, guys, make sure you like and subscribe our podcast and we will catch you next time.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.